Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Patty Ann from Patty Ann's Pastimes, and I'm so glad you stopped by today because we're going to do something really fun. We're going to take these junk mail envelopes that you would normally throw in the trash, and we're going to make something very pretty and useful like this. This will be great for putting in your pictures that you cut out for your glue book. This could hold the smaller pictures. And then in this bigger pocket, you could put the larger pictures. And if you're a scrapbooker or if you do junk journaling, this would be great also for holding ephemera pieces and then any other pictures that you would have for your journals. So I think you're simply going to love this and enjoy making it. So let's get crafting. The first thing you're going to need to do is to find some junk mail envelopes. And if you don't have any, maybe you can ask your friends or your neighbors or your relatives for some, and they can save their junk mail for you. I'm sure they'd be happy to do that. And you're going to need a big one like this. Doesn't matter if it's dirty because we're going to be covering that up. And then you're going to need a smaller one like this, a business size. It's nice that it has a window because this window you can see through, and that's real fun to have. And then it doesn't matter if it's torn because we're going to be covering that up anyway. So that's what you'll need to get first. The next thing you're going to need to do is decide where you're going to put it. Big envelope and see how it fits in that spot. And I would say it's just a little big. I would like it smaller than that, about right there and about right there. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it, take a ruler and just eyeball it. Don't need to measure it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just going to line it up, draw a line there, draw a line across there. And then I'm going to cut that off. And just use your scissors. If you do have a paper trimmer, you can use a paper trimmer, but I'm just going to use my scissors. Not everybody has a paper trimmer. Let's grab it here. Okay. I think that'll be good. Now we'll take our business envelope and we're going to line it up with this envelope because we want it to be the same size. And I'm just going to put this over here. Turn this over. It's okay, it's going to cut a little bit of our window off, but that's going to be all right. I'm just going to draw a line, use this as measuring on each end, and then I'm going to cut each end off as well. Now that I've cut both of the ends off of these envelopes, I want to see how they line up. Okay, that's pretty good. Before we cover the inside, I want to do one thing first. I want to cut this V out because it'll be a little bit easier now. What we're going to do, we're just going to, you don't have to measure, we're just going to find the middle. It's a little easier to fold this before we get it covered. We're just going to find the middle. We're going to give it a little crease like that. And then we're going to take a pencil and let's see, how deep did we make it? We'll put it about right there. That's the middle. Then you're just going to draw a line from the corner to that dot. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Going to find the corner, draw a line from the dot to the corner, and then just cut that out with our scissors. Just do that. And go up the other side. There. So we do that first. It's easier. And then I'm going to, see these little flaps that are sticking up? I'm going to glue those down. So they aren't sticking up like that. I'm just using some Barely Art glue. You actually can use any glue you want on this. This is just one I had handy. So yeah, that's better. Let's glue that down a little bit too. There we go. Do that. I thought I would just use the scraps that I had left over from this one. So if you're doing this, get in your stash bin and see what you have left for scraps. And this is a great way to use some of those. I'm going to grab my wax paper. Wax paper works great for gluing. One thing I found out when I was gluing this one, that if you use a wet glue, like I think I just used this Elmer School glue, but if you use any of the wet glues like art glitter glue or the Barely Art glue, since this is just scrapbook paper, it's pretty thin, it is going to wrinkle because it's wet. So if the wrinkling bothers you, then you probably will want to use a glue stick. But the wrinkling doesn't bother me that much because it's inside. So I think I'm just going to use my Elmer's glue. And one thing I'll mention about the Elmer's glue, the school glue gives you a little wiggle room. But if you get just the Elmer's regular glue, it does not. Once it's down, there's no moving it. Okay, now we're just going to put this down. I want to make sure that I can fold it. Okay, that looks good. And then we're just going to press it down. I mentioned that in my last video to smooth it out. But it is going to kind of buckle and crinkle. So let's go on the other side. See how it's wrinkling? But that's okay. We're going to smooth it out, but you do have to be a little careful because it is wet and it'll tear or could tear. But if it does, it's okay. We'll fix it. There isn't anything that can't be fixed. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let that dry. Okay. And I'll be back in a few minutes. I want you to know that this didn't take just a few minutes to dry. It was more like hours. I couldn't believe it. I used way too much glue. You don't have to use that much. I tend to go overboard with the glue because I want to make sure it's going to stick and it's not going to come up, but you don't have to use that much. You can see it did buckle and crinkle a little bit, but that's going to be okay because once this is closed, you're not going to be able to tell. So now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to cut around the edge with my scissors like this. Just going to go around it. Can you see that okay? It's kind of hard to see because it's white on white. But we're going to go around here. And if it isn't straight, that's going to be okay. We can always even it up later. There we go. Turn it. And cut down this side. There we go. Now the next thing we're going to do, we want to cover this part here, what is right here. So I'm going to take my business envelope and I'm going to measure how far it comes up, and I'm going to draw a line there with my pencil. Okay, and that way I'll know how far I need to cover this part. I don't have to do the whole thing. I can just go a little past this line. So I'm going to grab this scrap and we'll just kind of see here how this is going to work. And it's easier if you just cover this whole thing and then cut this out after it's dry. So I think I'll just use my glue stick and my wax paper. Just put this on, go a little past the line, and then take this I'm just going to put it on past the line and then press it down. Okay, let's see how that looks. Let's do it, make sure it's down good. There we go. And then we'll just let this dry. This should only take a few minutes to dry. This is dried enough for me to cut around it now. It didn't take long. It just took a few minutes. That's one thing nice about the glue stick. It does dry a little faster than the wetter glues. And I'm just going to cut around this V the best I can. Like that. Then I'll just go on the other side. Cut around there. And then let's cut that off. And then go on this side. I'm just cutting close to the edge that's already there. There we go. See how that looks. Oh yes, that looks good. Let me cut this little piece off right there. Even that up a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to set this aside and we're going to work on our business envelope. And what we want to do now is that we want to create this flap. And instead of this flap overlapping on this side, it's going to need to overlap on this side, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It's really easy. It looks complicated, but it's not. So we're going to fold this over on this side. Just want to make sure you can see that. We're going to fold it over in this side. And what we want to do first, though, before we do that, I forgot, is that we want to see where the center is, because this is kind of hard to tell where the center is. So I'm just going to fold this, just kind of eyeball it, and then I want to crease this where it is, just lightly, not heavy, just lightly. Kind of crease it so we can tell where the center is. See, that's better. We can tell now. All right, now we're going to fold it over. See, you can see where the crease is. And I'm just going to kind of mark that so I can tell. Now see how this is torn? But that's going to be okay. Because what we're going to do, we're just going to take our pencil and we're going to trace along this edge just the best we can. Okay, now if you want to use a ruler here, you can, but I'm just going to kind of wing it to meet up with this edge. There we go, and I'll show you. If you want to use a ruler, because you've got to mark where your center is, you could go and take your ruler along that edge too. Then you want to kind of curve it there. So that works too. Okay, so we have our mark, and eventually that's what this is going to be. We're going to cut it out. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take and cut this off. We're going to cut this flap off. I want to make sure you can see that. Okay, so we have that done. The next thing we're going to do is that we're going to cover the inside. So then we have to flip that over. We're going to be covering this part of the envelope. And I already picked out some pretty pictures that I thought would look real nice inside. This one, I think will go here. Let's see how that looks, because it's going to show through the window like this. So yes, I think that'll look real pretty. Let's glue that in. I think what I'll do, instead of putting it on here, I'm just going to put it on here, the glue. Just going to use my glue stick again. It's a little easier to do it on this rather than on here. Let me get my wax paper under here. Just put that on. Okay, that's pretty good. And take this. And let's see here. Let's see. Whoa. Kind of line it up. Let's see how that's going to fold. Yeah, I think that's going to look fine. If you don't like it, you can always do something different. Even put another picture over that if this one doesn't look like you want it to. Oh no, I think that'll be pretty. Okay, so that one will work there. And then I picked this out to go along here. We're just going to overlap it a little bit. Want to make sure it covers these edges. So yeah, I think that'll look good there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this part. I'm going to overlap just a little bit there. Okay. And then, oh, there's a cute little owl on the other side. I love owls. But that's okay, because we want this flower side. And let's see on the other side. One thing nice about the wax paper, the glue doesn't stick to it. Oh, yes, that'll work. Okay. Now I'm going to use this line as a guideline to cut this off. Can you see that all right? And see how that fills that gap? Not feels, fills. We need to trim the ends off next. Just going to use this edge as a guideline, but we're not going to trim this. We're going to leave this straight across. Now we have the foundation for our envelope, and next I'm going to show you how to attach the flap. I'm going to use this scrap for the flap. It matches this, and I'm just going to turn it over like this, and I'm going to leave about an inch here. I made a sample so you could see what it's going to look like. And if you don't have a ruler, you can just use this part of your finger. It's kind of an old way to measure. Let's see. That's pretty close. Let's see how we did. Yes, that's real close to what we need. And I have a funny story about junk mail. Since I've been using junk mail envelopes to do crafting with, I have a high regard for junk mail now. And when my husband starts to open one, he just rips them open. But I say, wait, no, let me do it. And I'll take my scissors and very carefully go along the edge. So anyway, we just laugh at each other. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. So that's good. So now we're going to glue this down so it looks something like this. I'll grab my wax paper, get some things out of the way. I'm going to use my glue stick. Put this on here. Use our finger to measure. It's pretty close. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, so yes, looks similar to that. And now what we're going to do, we're just going to go around this. If you want to take your pencil, like I showed you, the center is right here where we made the crease. That's close enough. That'll give us a guideline. Find my right scissors. And we're going to, can you see that okay? going to cut around this. This is going to be our flap. And see, it doesn't matter that there's a chunk taking out of there, because we're doing this to reinforce our flap. Okay. Now we're going to take another piece of the green and we're going to cover this part. Now it doesn't matter that there's this line here, because when we put it on here, it's not going to show anyway. But when you get some pads of scrapbook paper, they have this dotted line, and you can either cut it off or you can leave it on. In this case, I'm going to leave it on because it doesn't matter. All right, so we're going to glue this. Let's see here. There we go. Going to put this right along there and smooth it down. So it's nice and flat. I like to put the lid on my glue stick. Sometimes I forget. And now we're going to cut around this. And see, it didn't even matter that there was a chunk taken out of that flap. I'm going to grab my business envelope now and see how the flap measures up. And I want it to go over this line because that's going to be my opening, like this. So I want to make sure that when it closes, there's enough room to put a closure there. So I'm just going to put it over that line a little bit, line up the edges. I'm going to put a clip on there to hold it until I see what it looks like on the other side. Let's put one here. Let's turn it over. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to take my pencil and draw a line because that's where we're going to fold it. I want to be able to see that line. Let me scoot that over a little bit. Okay. That's okay, it doesn't show up there, but we just need a guideline to go by. Now what I'm going to do, I am going to use a small scoring board to do this. Turn it around here. Well, I think I'll do it like this. And I'm going to go along here, find the groove that's closest. Go along here. I'm going to score this. You have to be kind of careful. I did go through it a little bit. I put a little too much pressure on it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch next to it and do another one. I'm not going to press as hard. Okay. Go up a little bit so I can get clear to the end. There we go. That away, and then I'm going to fold it along those lines. See how I went through a little bit? We can fix that. That won't matter. Okay. And now we're going to attach it to our envelope. Let's see how that looks before we glue it. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, what I'm gonna do, now I want this to stick really well. So I'm going to use this art glitter glue because this glue, when it's down, there's no moving it. It sticks really well. And this flap is going to be used a lot. And I want it to stick and not move. Line it up and make sure you get it in the right place. Let's see how it's going to close. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. Let's press it down. Have a paper towel somewhere. Going to trim this edge off a little bit here. Can you see that? There we go. Now we have our flap. The next part, we're going to cut this out now. Just going to go right along our line. Like that. Looks good. Now we get to decorate the front. I don't know about you, but I'm a messy crafter. I start out good. I'm organized. I have my glues all in one place. I have my scissors in one place and my pencils and my pens. But oh my goodness, when I'm done, I have stuff everywhere. So let me know in the comments what kind of crafter you are. Are you a messy crafter or are you a neat and tidy crafter? I would love to know, so leave me a comment, okay? I'm just going to use this along here. I'm going to just cut this out. There we go. I'm going to turn it around. Maybe I'll put it down here instead. Yeah, I think it'll go down there a little better. You can see the flower then. I'll cut that off at the end. Yeah, that'll work there. Let's do that there. Let's put that on there. I like to go up just to cover the edge of the window. That on there. Okay. Gonna cut this off. And why don't I just use that piece right there? I'll just cut off this little edge right here. Yeah, that'll work. I kind of like it that it's a little crooked. That way it doesn't look perfect. That'll work there. Let's open this up. And one thing I wanted to mention, be kind of careful not to get too close to the edge with your glue stick, because it'll get on the window and it won't wipe off. Okay, that'll work there. Let's just tear this edge off. So let's give it a little tear. There we go. That looks good. I'll trim it on this side. All right. That looks good. So trim it at the top. Okay, so on this side, where do we put? I kind of like that, the way that goes around. Let's do that. Let's just tear this. Wait a minute. I like that edge. Ooh. I kind of like that edge a little better. It reminds me of lace. Let's do that one. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to glue this. I think I'll grab my wax paper. And maybe what we'll do, put it along there, like that. And maybe we'll tuck it under. See, that doesn't glue down. Why don't we tuck it under there? About under there. Ooh, I like the way that looks. I think what I'll do, I'll just fold this over. That'll help reinforce the edge of that a little bit. Let's do that. This side isn't going to show anyway because that's going to be glued onto here like that. Okay, now we're going to need something at the top. I like that. Let's just trim this edge off. There we go. That looks nice. After I glued this down, I think I don't like it covering up that flower. So I'm going to try to just tear around that flower a little bit. I wanted to see, yeah, there we go. That's better. I like being able to see that flower. Now there's a little space here, white space that we need to cover up. And let's see. I like that along the edge there. Kind of goes with this edge up here. So let's do that. Let's cut that off. this off here. Maybe we can just use a little piece to put in there. That'll work. See, I can use up little pieces of scraps that you have. I save all these little pieces. Like, no, I can't throw that away. I might be able to use that. Is that what you do? I don't throw anything away. I don't care how little it is. Now I cut out some pictures. I found 2 pictures that I thought might go here. So let's see what they look like. This is going to go over like this. Okay. So let's see which one of these would go in this spot. Put it straight, can put it crooked. Now, I think I like this one because it goes with the greens in here, and these flowers are similar to the ones in here, and the colors seem to go. So I think we'll put that right there. See how that looks. I actually kind of like it off the edge like that. I think I'll leave that. Okay, that looks pretty. Let's see if we can find a little saying to go in here. I got these off of Amazon. Let's see. How about follow your dreams? I like that. Now next, it's time to glue the sides down now. I'm going to use the art glitter glue because it holds really well. I'm going to be generous with it because I want this to stick. And we're going to just, a little trick here, we're just going to pinch the sides in a little bit because I want to be able to get my hands inside this pocket and not tear it on the sides, and also will give me a little bit more room to put my pictures in. So I'm just going to hold this down. Normally I would let this dry for just a little bit, but I want to go ahead and get this finished. Okay. Okay, now it's time for the closure. And I just got these little Velcro dots from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use those. That's just a simple, easy closure. And what you're going to want to do is cut them apart, stick them together. Okay. I'm just going to eyeball the center, peel one side off. Let's see here. Can you see that okay? Going to stick it on that side. Then I'm going to peel off the other side. I'm going to press firmly on it so it'll stick. and it stuck. Oh, I see though what it did. We have it up. We can fix that. No problem. We're just going to cut that off. No problem. There we go. There, fixed. That's your closure. We're going to grab the big envelope now because I want to glue the bottom down here and then leave this open like this so it can be a big pocket. I'm going to do that with the art glitter glue again because it sticks really well. Let's glue this little piece down while we're there. Going to be generous with it. There goes my glue stick again, rolling. Press it down, hold it for just a little bit. That art glitter glue grabs very quickly. Okay. And now we're going to see how this goes on here. See how we line up? Looks good. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put glue all over this whole envelope, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue. See how this washi tape isn't sticking? While we're here, I'm going to glue that down. That's just a little trick. Some washi tape sticks very well and some doesn't. So if you have one that doesn't, just put some glue on it also. So let's put glue all over this. Going to be generous with it. I'll try not to be too generous since I tend to go overboard with the glue, but I do want it to stick. I don't want it to come off. Okay. All right, we're going to line this up. Okay, before I press it down firmly, let's see how we're doing. I think it could go up just a little bit. See if it's going to come off. It did. Trying to get it on there. There we go. That's better. Let's press it down good. Press the edges down. Might even open this up. Take your ruler in there, or even if you have a bone folder, you can put your bone folder in there. Press it down. Now, if you want to spend a little more time decorating, you can. You can decorate here. You can put some washi tape along this edge like I did. And really, you can just modify it and change it and just do whatever you'd like with it and just have fun. I'm going to glue this in my glue book now. Actually, I'm going to glue this one in my glue book, and this one I'm going to use separately for spare pictures that I'm going to glue in my glue book, some ephemera, or anything else that I might want to put in there. And since I'm going to use it separately, I'll be covering the back of this. So I wanted to tell you that if you didn't want to put this in the glue book, then put some pretty paper in the back of it. This one, I'm going to glue in the front. It's going to go right here. Where's my wax paper? I'm going to use the art glitter glue because I really want it to stick down and not move. And this is the glue to use. That should be good enough. Get that out of the way. Now let's glue it down. I want to leave some room. Oh, you know what? I have it the wrong way. I'm glad I saw that. I want it this way. Okay, that looks pretty even. Let me find my paper towel to get it pressed down. And if any glue squishes out the edges, I can wipe it off. Okay, I'm gonna go in here, press it down. I'm going to put the small pictures that I cut out for my glue book in here. And then the larger pictures, I'm going to put in the bigger pocket, like that. And I just thought that would be handy for when you're gluing in your glue book. If you have 5 or 10 minutes, you can just open up your page, glue a couple pictures in, come back later. If you have 5 or 10 more minutes, grab another picture out of here, glue it in. And I just thought that would be so handy if they're in one place. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope you had a chance to craft along with me today. I really appreciate you being here. And when you have a few moments to relax, please thank the Lord for one thing you are grateful for, okay? Thanks again for watching. I'll be seeing you soon with a new video.